What's happening? What's happening? What's going on, y'all? How we doing? How we doing? Yeah, it is a Thursday night, and usually I'm not hanging out with you guys on a Thursday, but after watching a little bit of the, I'm gonna call it what it is, because they never have answers. But after watching a little hit piece, once again, like they always do, I could swear to God, to me, looking at that, I'm sitting here going, what did Alpha News have to do with this? Alpha, no. That looks like a Liz Collins. I know the dude, what's his name, Rip Coachella, something like that. He's the one who did this, but this looks like an Alpha News piece here. The reason I say that, because all of a sudden I'm watching this thing, and sure enough, A.K. Kamara jumps up in it. I'm like, yeah, this is y'all, man. See, and here's the thing about these little pieces that they put out that they love to do, and they give boneheads like this. They give boneheads like this dude right here a reason to go out and say the new documentary exposing Minneapolis radical leftists. See, that's what he turns it into. That's what he turns stuff like that into. Okay, that's what we have. This he is literally one of the main reasons Minnesota is the way it is. His garbage that he puts out, the things that he say, is one of the main reason Minnesota is the way it is. If y'all listening to this dude, you got something's wrong with you. That's he's one of the reasons why the right will never. It doesn't matter what you saw on that show today. You see how bad it is? See how bad it's getting? And you would think, with it being that bad, right? People in Minnesota would be like, wow, these Democrats are just nuts right now. They're going crazy. We shouldn't vote for them. He's one of the reasons why they do it. He is one of the reasons why the Republican Party will never win statewide. So I just want to put that out there already today, because I see what he put out already. He's the reason why. And like Tom Emmer, like people in Minneapolis knows Tom Emmer. They don't want the Minnesota to fall into the hands. Hey, Chaz, if you're not doing anything, you want to jump on, man. Come on. If you're not doing anything and you want to jump on, come on, man. He's one of the reasons why Tom Emmer is one of the reasons why Minneapolis is the way it is. Because people are, and these are the things that they don't tell you. These are the things you won't hear from a Rick Coachella. One of the reasons, not the only reason, I'm just saying one of the reasons why the state of Minnesota is falling the way it is because the Republicans do not give good people to vote for. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. Name me one person. Name me one that the Republican Party has put up. Walter Hudson? They laugh at me when I mention Walter Hudson. Literally laugh me out of the room. And I'm talking black folks. Lisa Dumas, laugh me out of the room. And they're talking about maybe running her as governor. Ain't gonna happen. Who else? Who else? You got Scott Lindell, Who else? So when these news people are doing this type of stuff, they need to listen. It is so bad in Minneapolis that when Tim Walz beat Scott Jensen, everything that Tim Walz had done, and he still knocked the socks off of him. Tim Walz said this time, I'm not running. This is what he said, that he's not running against the Republican Party, the Republican nominee. He said, I'm running against Trump. Tim Walz hadn't said nothing about the Republican nominees. Nothing. Why? Because they're not a threat to him. He knows if he keeps people's eyes in Duluth and Rochester and the Twin Cities, if he keep the eyes on the prize, and the prize is that anyone who wins in Minnesota on the Republican Party will follow Donald Trump. That is what he means when he says, I'm running against Trump. That's what he means. When he says, I'm running against Trump, that's what he means. Anyone who runs on the Republican side in Minnesota will be running as Trump's tailmate. That's what Tim Walz means. And Tim Walz know I can win on that. I don't have to say anything about them because, number one, none of them are coming into the Twin Cities. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They never do. They never do. So you can hang that up. So nobody in the Twin Cities is going to hear their voice. So all of this here crap that they got to feed their base, all this crap that they have to feed their base, they can keep saying it out there. But let me get into this little documentary. It's always funny how they put these type things, documentary. And it's always funny how they start these things off, right? They always start it off. So to get your attention, what they have to do, if they have to start it off the worst first, instead of bringing you in and saying, here's what's going on here. No. That's not what they do. That's why I call them hit pieces. That's what it is. Rip Capella put out and I guarantee you, in order for him to do this, Alpha News showed him something. Because this looks like it's got Liz Collins' name all over it. As I'm sitting there watching it, this got Liz Collins' name all over this thing. So I'm not even believing that I think he was just a face piece on this thing, and that's it. Because the way this was put together, I'm like, this is almost like the fall of Minneapolis. It looks like that. It could be the continuation of it. That's what it looked like to me. Look, people, for you all who don't care about Minneapolis, don't care about Hennepin County, and don't care about the Twin Cities, don't get into the politics of it, don't know the politics of it, have zero clue what actually goes down. When you see stuff like that, that's brand new to you. Everything that man showed you, everything he showed you was going on in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2000. That's not new. None of it is new, is what we've been telling y'all. Everything this man said on that little documentary is not new. It didn't happen yesterday. It didn't happen before George. It didn't happen after George Floyd. all of this stuff was going on. Why do you think George Floyd even happened? Why? Because of the way the city was turning. Now, I wrote down so many notes here, man. I'm sitting here going, there's so much to unpack here. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. But see, they can give you all this here type of stuff, and they can sell you on it. They can say, here, this is what I want. But I'm down there all the time. I'm dealing with the same people that they're dealing with all the time. So you can't pull the wool over my head. And a lot, and I can see also, if they were doing this, if Rick Coachella, I hope I'm saying his name right. I kill people name. But let's just say Rick was doing this because he wanted people to care. They don't do this stuff because they want you to care. They do it for ratings. They do it for money. This is all about money. Because if Rick really wanted to do this because he wanted people to care, he was putting it out there for people to say, you know what can I do to bring the Twin Cities back? What can I do to be more involved into making sure that the biggest city don't fall into socialist hands? What can I do? If he was doing that, I would be like, cool. But that's not what this is about, and y'all know that as well as I do. That's not what this is for. It's for ratings. It's for money. Scare tactics. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. So they started this little situation off, talking about that dude, that landlord that's over there, as if his bill, like he didn't know what was going on in that area. Every landlord, every business owner knew exactly what was going on in that area. There was a reason, like I said, look, nobody said George Floyd was awesome. I don't think anybody has ever sat and I know I haven't. George Floyd was a drug addict. He was a drug dealer. Period, point blank. So there was a reason for George to be over in that area that day. And if you're a landlord in that area, you knew why George Floyd was over there. And if you're a landlord or a business owner in that area, you let that happen. If they sit there and act like this dude right here, they let this stuff was going on right in front of their faces. There was a time that over there on 38th, you can walk up and down the street, you can do whatever you want, you can have a good time. But when they start seeing that place go downhill the way that it did, they knew. They all knew. They all saw it. So to get on TV and try to act like it cracks me up. And one of the things that Rick Coachella and that landlord guy said that I was hoping, see, and here's the reason why I say I don't believe what Rick did was honest. He wasn't there for help to do anything. Watch this. So during that interview that he was doing, and he and the landlord was in the street, correct? And the landlord said that there was literally open air drug sales, and they would just drive up. Remember this? If you don't remember it, I need you to go back and look at this film. I caught it right away. Like I said, the reason I catch these things is because I see these things all the time. This isn't new to me. It's new to you, but it's not new to me. But so they had, the landlord said, and he had his hands like this, and he was like, there's drug deals where they just come up, they stop, they do their drugs. If Rick would have said, can you tell me the people who are coming and buying the drugs? That's why I rewinded going, please, Rick, make him ask that question and have him answer the question. Who are coming into the community? I want you to say it. So I need somebody else other than the black folks in the community to say it. Because y'all don't believe black folks when we say who is buying these drugs. Y'all know who it is. You just don't want to admit it. I was hoping that Rick asked him that question. So this is what I'm talking about. This is why I say that this wasn't about nothing about help, because there's a couple other things that Rick could have asked him. If he was that all-star journalist, if he's going to do this, do it right. But he could have easily asked that man right then and there, who is coming in the community? Who is driving the cars? Who's driving the trucks? And who is stopping to buy the drugs? Because you heard what the guy said. There's drug deals all the time, all up and down that street, right? All the time. If that camera wasn't out there on that street, there would be a line of cars lined up, stopping to buy drugs on that very street they were standing on. I've been on that street. I've been on that very street that guy was standing on. I've seen his apartments. I've seen where he's at. I've seen it. See, Rick and them can put stuff out like this, knowing you all are not going to go fact check. You're not going to go look. You're not going to go see for yourself, right? That's why they can do stuff like this. It's the very reason why y'all got all crazy about that fall of Minneapolis. They knew you're not going to go and look into it. You're not going to go fact check anybody. You're not going to go and people like me who are in the place, who was there when the rioting was going on. And I'm looking at the things, and then all of a sudden I go, that didn't happen. And then the people who makes it get mad at me and block me because I can say that did not happen. It's funny how that works. But I wanted Rick to ask that question. Who's buying those drugs, Rick? No. The landlord sees it. His eyes are right there. You should have asked him the question so he can answer that question. I so wanted him so he can answer that question. But then we get off. So he talk about the crime. There's he said what they said was like 16 guns pulled out in one little square area. That's true. But again, that's not new. We see that all the time. All the time. All the time. That's nothing new. There's gunfights that go on down there that never get reported. Y'all don't even hear about. You don't even know about. But one of the things that I definitely want to talk about, that I agree with them on certain things, and I'm glad they said it. I'm so happy that Rick, I'm going to give you a hand clap for bringing up the DSA. And I hope everybody who watched that film, if you did not watch it, listen to me. I keep trying to make y'all understand. I've been on this here platform on several occasions talking about if that city falls into the wrong hands and why it's important for you to care. If y'all didn't get anything out of that get up, that Rick Capcella and I'm on wink say Alpha News put together, What you needed to get out of that, I'm skipping ahead here for a second. I'm going to go by, there's much more, but I want to get this part in because I really want you to understand what I'm saying. I really, really need you to understand what I'm about to say to you. The Socialist Party is the rot of that community. Listen to what I just said. And if you don't think that it's going to affect you, use a liar to yourself and anybody around you. Let me show you something. A few years ago, there was nobody in the west of Minneapolis, right? There's two cities right now, Golden Valley, St. Louis Park. They call that West Napolis, West Minneapolis. And if you don't think that it's going to stop there, you're out your mind. I've told y'all, I've been on this platform for a long time, and you name one thing that I've come on here and I've said that did not come true. Name one. Name one. Name one. I told y'all pretty much when I got on here, this is what I said. I said, what's going to happen is Riverside is going to fill up. They've got to take those people out of Riverside and put them somewhere. It can't be North Minneapolis anymore because they've already pushed black folks completely out of there. So they have to go somewhere. Correct? They start putting them in Burnsville. They start putting them in Lakeville. They start taking them up Bemidji. They start taking them out to St. Cloud. And now they're putting them around Hennepin County. Robbinsdale, Bloomington, Richfield. Write those down. Write them down. Write them down. Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park. Because the socialists here in Minnesota believes that they should take from everybody and give to other people. If y'all think all of this here fraud in the state of Minnesota is just a a good friend of mine, two of them, I consider them to be good friends of mine. I called a state rep and I said, I've got two friends that can show you some fraud that's going on in the state of Minnesota, right? They put together a PowerPoint, took it up to the Capitol, and sat in front of a few Republicans, and they showed them some fraud that was going on. This is before the big break. Like I told you, when Roger Chamberlain, if y'all remember, Senator Roger Chamberlain, when Roger Chamberlain was calling this out, I was on board with Roger Chamberlain when we was talking about this a long time ago. See, this is what I'm telling y'all. This stuff isn't new to me. When Roger Chamberlain, go look it up. Go look up Roger Chamberlain and then look up what he was doing. There's a reason Roger Chamberlain lost his seat. The Democrats had to get him out of there. He was too close to the fraud. Go look it up for yourself. I spoke to Roger Chamberlain like every other night we was talking about this stuff. We talked about this fraud every other night. So that's why I keep telling you, this stuff isn't new to me. But these socialists, you got Jason Chavez is one of the worst. This cat, and I talked about this a while ago. This cat got a bill. Listen to me. So you're going to pay drug addicts. True story. And I've said this, but nobody said a word. Then all of a sudden it pops up in that story. This cat is paying drug addicts to clean up their drug area, and they don't clean up the drug area. The city ends up having to come and do it. The city has to come do it. But yet Jason Chavez is paying these people money for nothing. So they take the money Jason gives them and they go buy drugs. He's just, you can't make this stuff up, people. It doesn't, and I've told y'all that. I've sat here and told you that. That what they told you in that that's not new to me. But that's what he's doing. He's an activist. He's a socialist activist. Same thing with Aisha, whatever her name is. She's a far left activist. That's all they are. I used to like Robin. I thought Robin was one of the ones with a level head until she actually started talking. Robin's another one. And here's the thing about this whole thing. There's only 4 of them on the city council. And the city council's afraid of them. Hell, Jeremy Ellison don't do a damn thing, so he don't count. The worst district in the state of Minnesota, the worst ward in the state of Minnesota. There's no place worse than Ward 5. No place. No place. Jeremy Ellison. And he don't do jack. But yet he votes along with these 4 of these knuckleheads. And then the so-called president of the city council, who to me got soft shoes, can't stand up for nothing. Nothing. He votes along with these boneheads. And then all hell breaks loose. And then there's nobody on that council that decides that I've got a voice, I can say something, I can go against them, except for Vita. She does everything she possibly can. One person, basically. Everything she possibly can to push against the craziness. One person against almost the whole board. Oh, Michael Rainville. I'm sorry. Michael, I'll give Michael that much credit. Every now and then, Michael go, you know what? I can't put up with the craziness. I've got to do something different. It's getting loud in here. It's crazy. Every now and then, Michael will do something. But the rest of them, they go along with these activists. I told them years ago, when they had Philip Cunningham, y'all probably don't remember him. We got him done. We got him out of there. He was the number one. Latricia Vita, we put Vita in for Philip Cunningham. If y'all remember, Philip Cunningham was the biggest push with the defund, dismantle the police. Got rid of him because of that. Got rid of him because of that. And that's when I start saying you cannot put these activists on the get up. So instead of them calling themselves activists, they start calling themselves moderate, watch this, moderate Democrats. Not progressives or anything. We're just moderate. That's how they got on. And then they get on, and the next thing you know, they go crazy. They crazy. They are completely. Jason Chavez is the biggest waste of time on that. How this dude gets to be on that board, these people voting him in, is crazy. That his area, his ward, are just people who don't care. No, listen to me. They don't care. Literally. For him to be voted in to office, those people. Now, the other ones, I'll give them a little leeway. A little leeway. But Jason Chavez, those people over there in that area don't care. And you say, well, why should I care, Rev? Right? Because his ward is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. That area where Chavez, that area wasn't like that before Chavez got it. That area wasn't as bad as it is right now before Jason Chavez got that ward. It was not. And why the people don't care over there, that I don't know. It's shocking. It's shocking that these people let that area go. See, we can blame crime. We can blame the criminals all we want. But it's the people in the community that are letting these areas go to hell. Just like that landlord over there. Just like that landlord over there. Joseph. Oh, I got somebody. Joseph said, I lived in Ward 9 and I do care about my neighborhood. Been and always will be a socialist ward. You have to live here. That's not true, man. You can say that. I put my son. I'm not going to say what I'll tell you where my son lives. My son lives right on 35th. My son lives right on 35th. And you say that it is and always been a socialist ward. That's just not true. 2016, 2017, unless that was not a socialist ward. Unless y'all was over there undercover. Unless undercover, that was a progressive ward over there. Y'all voted progressive. Look at who your leader was before you put Chavez over there. Look who your leader was before. That wasn't a socialist leader you had over there. The socialists didn't come on that board until Philip Cunningham jumped on that. Philip Cunningham was a socialist. Correct? That's when, and then after Jason Chavez got over there, and then things start going downhill, and you sit there and you say, well, I care about my community. Then why is it a shithole right now? Why did it go downhill the way that it did, Joseph? I mean, I'm not on here telling no lies. They put that on blast. Your community was put on TV tonight. Tonight, your community was put on TV. I watched that community go downhill. I put much time over there on 38th. My son lives literally right down the street from everything that happened. Right down the street. So when you sit there, and don't get me wrong, brother, I believe you care about your community. But if you're telling me that the socialist has taken over that community, now you know why it's as bad as why it's gone downhill. If that's what you're saying. You said, I live in Ward 9 and I do care, but my neighborhood has been and always will be a socialist ward. I beg to differ, brother. I'm just saying, I beg to differ. Go back and look who ran that ward before Jason Chavez got it. The person who ran that ward before Jason Chavez got it was not a socialist. They was a moderate Democrat. And when Jason Chavez got his hands on that ward, now you understand, and now I truly understand why that area, Ward 9, has turned into the dump that it is right now. Your ward tonight was on TV. your word tonight was shown to be a criminal element in the state of Minnesota. That is a fact. That is a fact, brother. That's a fact. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. But these socialists that are out there right now, if y'all don't understand what's going on, and they are in St. Louis Park, they are in he said I lived here my whole life. He said that previous ref was Anna. I went down because we have a community that believe in socialism. Well, socialism ain't working, man. But this is what I'm saying. And yes, Chavez has made it worse. But I don't understand why people believe socialism wouldn't work. Why would you want to give the city hall? Why would you want to give this government? Look at what the government. I'm talking Democrat and Republican. I'm not. Y'all know I don't. Y'all know I don't pick one when I talk about the government of Minnesota. Why would we want to, Joseph, give the state of Minnesota, give the government of Minnesota power over who we are as a people? Why would we want? That part I don't understand. Why would we want to be slaves to look, the last thing black people want to do is to let the government tell us what to do anymore. We've been through that. We've been through that twice. They held us as slaves, and then they turn around and put us on welfare and projects and everything. So why in the world would I want to go back there, Joseph, and be a socialist? A socialist ain't nothing but a money-grabbing suckhorde. That's it. Look at what the socialists are doing right now to that, and that's the part that I get. See, it blows my mind. I agree, but folks here voted for this. No, and that's what I'm saying, Joseph. Thank you very much. I appreciate you back and forth, man. And don't get me wrong. I don't want you to sit there and go, well, wow, Rev is dogging me out. I'm not doing that. That's not what this is about. But you're giving me some insight on what I've been trying to figure out. Going, but why? What is it about socialism is so appealing to me? Because I've read up on it, I've studied it, I've talked to other people, and I just don't get it, man. I don't get why we would want the government. Look at what Trump is doing right now. Look at what Trump is doing right now. Now, we don't look at what Trump is doing as people don't look at that and go, well, that's socialism. That it is kind of a way, because he wants to be a dictator. He wants to be a Fidel Castro like you would not believe. He swears up in God he's a Putin. Why would you want that, Joseph? He said it's appealing because they don't have. Well, Roller said it's appealing because they don't have to think. Kind of sound like MAGA to me. I don't know. I don't know why MAGA isn't socialist. I don't. I don't. The reason I went to join, the reason I decided to get back into a party when I did, the Tea Party. Like I said, the first time I ever voted was for a Democrat or a Republican. Republican. First time I ever voted. Because I believed in the values that they put out there. And then they started acting up and showing me how racist they could be, the Republicans. So I said, I'm going to go over here and join this conservative group of people. And then I got into the Tea Party here in Minnesota, And then they decided to show me how racist they could be too. And I said, I will never, ever join a party from this point on. And then, before that, I voted for Obama, and Obama pissed me off with this I evolved crap and decided that, you know what me and my wife are, I'm going to give Steve and Steve. Obama did that. Said, I can't vote for this dude. I don't care how black he is. Y'all can make him cocoa chocolate black. I wasn't voting for him no more. I was not voting for that. I ain't having it. And up to this here day, y'all can sit there and say that, one of those there on a guy and a guy is something to you, but that's nothing to me. But we ain't gonna get into that yet, because boy, I'll take off on that subject. But that's why I didn't vote for Obama anymore. That's why, and then I went for McCain, and then McCain messed up and went and got Sarah Palin, and I said I ain't that crazy, so I had to leave McCain. No, McCain. Then I was like, okay, Mitt Romney. Mitt's gonna do it. Let's go. Then Mitt fizzled out. And I ain't voted for a Republican ever since. I ain't voted for a Democrat ever since either. But socialism, man, I just don't deal with it. I can't do it. I can't see it. I can't understand it. I can't believe that I want the government to tell me what to do with my life. What I want the government to do is to make sure that nobody comes over here and mess with us. I want the government to stay as far away from me as they possibly can, because I don't really need you, because they don't really do much, especially the ones here in Minnesota. They don't. What do they? No, seriously, what do they do? What only thing that the Republicans do here in Minnesota is play defense, because the Democrats are always on offense. The Democrats are always doing something to the point where the Republicans have to play defense all the time. They could never do anything. And I believe, even if Republicans had a chance to do something in Minnesota, they wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't. They don't have a leader. Republicans don't. Who is the leader? I know who you're going to say, but they don't have a leader. It's everybody for themselves. It's everybody. If you say Tom Emmer, I'll come through my computer and smack you. I don't believe in violence, but if you say Tom Emmer, that's what I would have to do. That's the biggest joke there is. He's only in office because he can say ugly, nasty, vile things, and that's what the Republican base like. Well, listen, I agree. The GOP here has been a joke. They have been a joke, and they've been putting people up. You know what? I got behind Scott Jensen, and I did everything I possibly could do, from talking to people to going out and doing this here, because I believed in some of the things that Scott Jensen wanted to do. And I thought Scott would be someone who would actually come into the black community and come into the poor and really work and help poor people. But I found out very, very early that wasn't going to be Scott Jensen's calling. The problem with the Republican Party here in Minnesota, they don't care about poor people. No, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. You can get mad, like I told you. You can get mad if you want to. If you want some scripture, go to Amos 5:10. Amos 5:10. Write that down. If you want some scripture tonight from what I'm doing and what I'm saying, go to Amos 5:10. Talks about telling the truth. And it talks about people can't handle the truth. People can't handle. I was going back and forth with a dude on today. I'm still doing it. Dude can't handle the truth about Joe Biden letting all these people out of prison. He did. Minneapolis is going to be the rot of this state. And I know y'all sit there and go, I live blah, 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 and ain't nothing going to happen to me. Okay. All right. I heard that. I heard that before they took over St. Louis Park. I heard that before they start complaining about going to the Mall of America. I heard that before they start complaining about them buying land out in Llano Lakes and how can they stop them from building one of the biggest mosques. I heard that. I heard that before people out in Lakeville started bitching and moaning because they're out there also. I heard that. See, we always wait until it's on our porch, and then we want to try to fight it. Ask those people over in St. Louis Park. Did they heed the warning? Ask Edina. Did they heed the warning? Two places you would never think. You would never think, but look at what's going on. And now the Democratic Socialist Party is trying to put the city. He said, but what about our local poverty pimps that have punked our white leaders since the 90s? Okay. You're right. He's right. Joseph asked a question. Joseph, I got that down here. I was going to talk about that. But now that you bring it up, let's talk about those local poverty pimps who have pimped the white leaders since the 90s. Bingo. So they touched on it a little bit tonight on the Rick Capcella. He kind of touched on it a little bit tonight. Let's talk about that. So you have, I'm going to show you how this stuff works, right? So you have these people, and Robin and Jason got a lot to do with this. So I hold on. Jason also have a lot to do with them poverty pimps, my friend. So hold on. So what he mean by poverty pimps? One of the biggest poverty pimps, one of the biggest movements that's out there right now is what they call violent interrupters. Okay? And do you know, hey, Jason, do you know, Joseph, you know who taught them that? White women. Watch this, brother. When Moms Demand and Protect Minnesota, you know who they are? When they came into the community teaching the broken window syndrome, true story. So these white women came into the black community and they start teaching this, what they call the broken window syndrome. And what that is they're saying if you leave a broken window, that means there's crime around. So they said, here is what you do to clean this stuff up. We put gardens. We need to have gardens. We need to plant trees. We need to plant flowers. They took, if you go on on Broadway and Lindale to the liquor store, they have these huge flower pots in the middle of the parking lot. These women got money, a lot of money, Joseph, to put those flower pots in the middle of the parking lot and plant flowers in them. They got a lot of money. They also, my friend, got a lot of money to build gardens all in the vacant lots. They got a lot of money, my friend, to put trees up all on the boulevard and plant flowers all on the boulevard. They got paid, my friend. They got paid when they came in and start teaching this broken window situation. They got paid when they came in and start going, hey, what we're going to do is we're gonna start coming up with social programs for you. We're gonna come up with non-profits like Guns Up, Love Up, Guns Down. We're gonna come. Don't shoot. Hands up. Don't shoot. You following me? Then they get all of this money from the state. They get money. They kick that money to the Democrats. Correct? Are white women? No, white women, you know what? I'm not saying white women are, but he asked the question, and I'm giving you what I know. So fast forward, right? He said, I know about that. I was on the review committee. Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that. He said he knows about that. But I'm telling people who don't know how this stuff works, right? So hold on, Jason. I'm getting to the violence interrupters. And you're right. You and I, we totally agree on what you said about that group. So the certain people in the community started going, you know what? Instead of having these white women in our community getting all the money like they are, we should be getting this money too. So they came up with the violent interrupters. And these are groups, right? Mad Dads. Y'all heard of them? There's a group called Mad Dads, right? He said, I should say rich white women. Yeah, the rich ones. Those are the Karens. But so they started coming up with all of these groups, right? Saying, Mad Dads and violent interrupters and this name and that, all of these people. I mean, there's about listen to me. There's about 70 groups out there right now that call themselves violent interrupters. And what they do is they fight over this money that Robin and Jason and all of the other socialists on that city council dangle in front of their face. Reverend, I don't know if y'all heard about the situation that happened. So Reverend McAfee, he runs one of these violent interrupter groups, right? Went up there because they wasn't going to give him any money. So he goes up there and he's talking to Jamal. But Jason took it upon himself to say, oh, you're talking to me and you hurt my feelings. He wasn't talking to Jason. Wasn't talking to Jason. But these violent interrupter groups figured out how they can get into the money. And then all of these other groups pop up. These, as he says, poverty pimps. And millions upon millions. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? My dog. Sitting in my dog. Millions upon millions upon millions upon come here. You're getting heavy, man. Let them see you. Come on. Nah. Well, you're just gonna come on, jump up. Can you get up? Nah, they can't see you. What, millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. You talking about the money that Somalis? Well, it hadn't been billions, right, Joseph? It hadn't been billions, but millions upon millions upon millions of dollars have went into the city of Minneapolis, and you would never know it because that money never hits the ground. He said, "Yes, my brother." He said, "I am so happy others see this." Millions goes into Minneapolis, and that's another. And Rick Capcella did not open that door. He touched on it. He gave you that much of it, but he didn't tell you millions of your taxpayers' money goes to these people who walk around in colored shirts and do nothing. Nothing. Hold on. Somebody in the back row was looking over at their neighbor and they missed what I said. Nothing. I can tell you that. But yet, this year, Robin wanted to take that money, the millions of dollars, and move it into some type of fund so she and other city council member, Jason, can allocate that money to their friends, to their friends who call themselves, to their socialist groups of violent interrupters. You see how that's working, Jason? Joseph? Why I keep calling you Jason? Sorry, man. Sorry. But that is exactly what's going on. That's what's happening with, as he calls them, and I call them the same thing, poverty pimps. And folks that live out in Rocks and Cows, your tax dollars. This is your tax dollars. And y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. It doesn't matter to you. Just as long y'all sit there and go, you can use my tax dollars for whatever you want as long as y'all not bringing y'all asses out to where we're at. Well, I'll be the one to have to break your heart. Your tax dollars ain't keeping them from there. It's not. It's not. It's not. And the sad part about it is we don't get to know about this stuff until the end. We don't hear about it until the end. That nobody tells us that all this money that's been stolen, all this money that like I said, that has been inside of Minneapolis. They could have fixed, with all the money that has been inside of Minneapolis, they could have fixed Broadway. Broadway should be a bustling area for people who want to come down. What's her name? Aisha. When she's trying to sit there and try to act like, well, we don't want people coming here. Really? You don't want people coming to Minneapolis, walking around, seeing things. This is your city council amendment. This is your socialist city council, Joseph. Your tax, because I know my son's taxes, it's going up again. Why? Because the economic base isn't there anymore, right? People are not coming and spending money in Minneapolis anymore. They're not coming to the shops. They're not going to downtowns. They're not doing any of that. So your taxes will be going up. All because, as you say it, you guys are socialists. They're going to run you out of that place. Y'all are not going to be able to afford living over there. Because when gentrification really starts happening and they start really opening the door for these people to go in here, and it's going to come back, and they're going to start buying these buildings. I guarantee you it's going to happen. And it's going to hurt everybody who's there. But they're going to try to do it in a socialist way. The government is going to try to do it. And then they're going to take over and tell you what you can and cannot do on that. So again, the violent interrupters gets millions and millions and millions of dollars. I wish he would have touched on that a little more than what he did, but he just brought him up there long enough to be able to say something about him. He should have went really into it, but I knew it was kind of a hit piece. Like I said, when I seen A.K. Kamara on there, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay. And then when Don Samuelson came on, Don Samuelson calls himself a Democrat. I don't see Don as really a Democrat. I see Don more of a fire starter. Don was on the city council That's pretty much when the city council started going downhill, when Don Samuelson was on there. So that was one of the things that they talked about on there. Pat Garofalo was on there too. He's always funny to me. I thought that was pretty funny to even have him anywhere near that. Another thing that we was talking about, they talked about, and they never ever talk about. So they talked about cops leaving. Okay, let's touch on that. Roller said, what? He said, but I saw some old white ladies take a picture in front of the Guthrie and said it was fine and vibrant. What day he said I saw an old white woman take a picture in front of the Guthrie and said it was, she must have been down there on a Saturday or Sunday when nobody was down there, right? Like in the daytime, probably about 12 o'clock. Because I can guarantee you she didn't go down in front of the Guthrie at not no old woman at 8 o'clock at night. Roller. I can guarantee you that. But let's deal with this cop thing, okay? And let's make sure. And when they say this, when they say fully funded or fund the police, I would like for someone like Rick Capella or Liz Collins to give you numbers on how much money the cops get. Because if you listen to them, you would think they get no money at all to do nothing. They get zero money at all to do nothing. If you listen to them, that's just not true. Even when they was talking about defunding the police, they were giving the police money. The police was giving money. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the only reason that cops left was because they knew certain rules was coming down, and there's a lot of cops that could not follow those rules. Correct? Those cops, people sit there and go, well, the cops left because of the things that was going on with George Floyd, and they was all handcuffed. Why were they handcuffs? Have you read the DOJ report? That's all I'm asking. The same thing with Liz Collins came out with her the fall of Minneapolis. Why all that in that? I had never told nobody not to watch it. This is what I said. I said, ask the question. Why did that happen? Why did it happen? See, they never tell you why. She didn't tell you why. She didn't start fall of Minneapolis off by looking into Derek Chauvin. I mean, you know who I mean. Derek's past. Look into his past and see how much money he has cost the city. She didn't start it off that way. They don't never tell you why. You will never get the why from them because they have an agenda they have to meet. But look in Derek's. Derek's in prison right now. We know that. But what I'm saying is there's a reason why she was able to make the fall of Minneapolis. There's a reason why Rick Capella was able to make what he made today. One of the things that he brought up, watch this. One of the things that he brought up, Lisa said facts. One of the things that he brought up was policemen riding bikes in the community, was policemen being part of the community, was policemen talking to the people in the community. It had got so bad in Minneapolis that the police would not get out of their car. Read the DOJ report on the Minneapolis Police Department. Things had got so bad in St. Paul that they had to dismantle. Listen to what I said. This police department, this police unit in St. Paul was so corrupt and so rotten, they had to dismantle it. literally tear it apart because it was so bad. The Minneapolis Police Department was beginning to be so bad, they talked about it. And this is the reason why they started talking about dismantling the police. Y'all don't know what a jump out boy is. Y'all probably have never heard what jump out boys is. Tell you what they are. That's when police, you got 6 or 7 police in a car. All of a sudden they pull up and they jump out and they just jump out on. That's why we call them jump out boys. And they just jump out on somebody and they brutally attack. That's why police brutality. They brutally attack people, wanted people, people they feel are wanted or got a warrant or anything like that. You're standing there. Now, let's think about this for a second. You got black kids that are living in this neighborhood that's already traumatized from the gunshots and things like that the city council don't care about. Let me say that because somebody missed what I just said, that the city council don't care about. Now, you got these kids, and the only time that they interact with the police is when they see a police jump out and they grabbing black men and throwing them on the ground, throwing them on the car. What do you think that little black kid is going to think about the police? Think about it. Why do you think we have a problem with the police department? Because of the way the police department has always treated black people. Why do you think that the Black Panthers took up arms? They didn't take up arms just for the criminals in the community. They took up arms also for the police department. Let's go all the way back to when they was lynching black people and they would go into the jails. Listen to what I just said. How do a mob, make me understand this, how do a mob go into a police station? A police station is supposed to protect their prisoners. A police station that has guns. How do they go into a police station, grab a black man, drag him down the street, and then hang him in a tree? Our problem with police goes back that far. When my grandfather was marching in Memphis, Tennessee, for the garbage man strike, and they sicked the dogs on them, the policemen sicked the dogs on people who were marching peacefully. Our problem with the police go back that far. When y'all said, this is what you said. This is what you said. There is no police brutality. That's what you said. We ain't seen it. We said, okay, here's a videotape. Y'all watched the police beat Rodney King like he was a runaway slave. There was no compassion and there was no remorse from any of you. And the only thing y'all had to say was he should have complied. That's what you said. And you used that from that day forward. Whether it was Fernando Castile, and the thing that I like about this little piece that Rick Coachella did is he told the truth. If you listen to what he said Fernando Castile was murdered while getting his license. That's what he said. Finally, somebody told the truth, because y'all sat there and said it was the marijuana that got him killed. That's what y'all said. Y'all blamed this man. Y'all let that cop go because y'all believed what the lying ass right-wing media told you. And that's who did it. That's who did it. To each and every one of you, you believe that. But tonight, I thank God that Rick Coachella told the truth in his story. Fernando Castile, that cop told him to get his license. Fernando Castile, who did not in the state of Minnesota have to tell that cop he had a gun, a firearm, didn't have to say a damn thing to him. But because this young man was just as scared as every other black man, that's why black people don't. That's why we don't tell people that we got firearms here in Minnesota. The main thing that scares me about carrying my firearm, if I'm ever somewhere eating dinner with my wife, and so happens it starts printing, or I move my arm and my shirt come up, and some white woman sees my gun. Y'all, can you no, seriously, can you imagine what would happen if I'm sitting in a restaurant, I'm eating dinner, I'm not bothering nobody, and somehow, some way, somebody turn and look and sees my firearm? Can you imagine? Think about it. No, seriously. Y'all know exactly as well as I do what would happen. Everybody in that damn restaurant will probably be on the phone. Black man with a gun. I walk outside. There's the police. Philando Castile was murdered in cold blood by that police officer. And it's funny to me, just like George Zimmerman, how George Zimmerman, a Mexican, and y'all hate the Mexicans. Yes, you do, because you want them to go back. But all of a sudden, George Zimmerman was the whitest Mexican in the United States. Same thing with this here dude. Geronimo, what's his face? Shot and murdered that boy. Killed that man in cold blood. Think about this for a second. Who is going to have a shootout with the cops, with his girlfriend in the passenger seat, with his baby in the back seat? Who in the world would have the shootout? Y'all act like we dumb. Y'all act like black people are stupid. There's no way in the world a black man is going to have a shootout with his girlfriend in this seat and his baby in the back seat. But y'all don't think like that. And y'all let this man off. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You let him off. But tonight, Rick Kupchella made it clear. And I'm sure y'all didn't hear that part because you didn't want to hear it. I guarantee you did not hear that part. I told y'all because I've been here. That's why I hear these things. Rewind the tape. If you videotaped it or find it online, go back and listen for yourself. If you missed that part that I just told you, rewind it and listen to it for yourself. I don't miss nothing. I don't miss a damn thing. I see it all. I hear it all. If you miss it, and I'm sure y'all sitting there going, I didn't hear that. I'm sure you didn't. It's my job. I have to sit. Look, another part of my job is listening to married people when people come to me for marriage counseling and things of that sort. So I've got to be like really attentive to the things that are saying, right? I can't take his side and I can't take her side. I got to listen to what he says and I got to listen to what she says. And then at any point in time, somebody break and they say something, I've got to be able to repeat exactly what they say. So my attention span to people when they're talking is really, really good. Or when I'm looking at a TV program, it's really, really good. So go back and rewind it. Listen to what it says. Rev, it's online. Okay, Lisa said it's online. But go listen to that part. If you missed that part where Rick Kupchella says that Philando Castile was reaching for his license, go listen for yourself. And I'm glad he said that. I'm glad somebody finally said that. But all in all, it was a pretty nice little piece. The school part, again, is not new. Because you got to remember, some of y'all probably don't know, but years back, they were going to close Minneapolis High School. The only high school in that area, Minneapolis North High School. They was going to, because kids wasn't going to school. Kids wasn't learning jack. And I've told you myself, I've got kids in my Sunday school class. They go to that school. They can't read the Sunday school curriculum. The same piece of paper that I can give my grandson that's in the 7th grade that has never seen it, can read it fluently, I give it to them and they can't read it. But so the school, even what they said about schools, not new. They were going to school, close a high school. And the elementary schools over in that area ain't any better. So that's what I'm saying. To me, everything on that show tonight, it's not new. It's not new. If they was going to do that, again, here's the funny part. So Pat lives all the way out in Lakeville. I don't know where AK live. They're not down. They're not down in Minneapolis like I am. You would think they would be like, hey, let's go talk to Rev about this and see what he has to say. No, they go get people who have nothing to do with the city. Nothing. AK drives through the city as fast as he possibly can because he ain't stopping. He ain't doing anything. He ain't putting time into it. He's not down there to help anybody. I like Pat. I went down. Pat Garofalo put a table together for me. What I mean by that is he invited me to come down and speak. And I like Pat. I give Pat. I mess with Pat a lot. I do. But I like this guy. Because Pat was, when I first came on the scene, Pat Garofalo was the first person to invite me down to Lakeville. Well, not Lakeville, but I'm trying to think of the name of that other joint. Farmington. Invite me down there with a group of people. He got a group of people together. Has Spike been helping? I know he's... Roller said, oh, Spike is my guy. Hey, Roller, Spike is... Dude's a godsend to me. Dude's a god. If I need water... matter of fact, I had the opportunity to go to where he lived because he had called me up. He hit me up and said that he had some stuff for me, and the wife and I took a drive out to where his house and stuff and talked to him for a little bit and picked some stuff up. But Spike is my guy. Spike is my guy. Spike, Marco, my good friend Marco on here also. Marco helps me out if I need something. It's only a few, and you bring that up, and that's what I say, and that's why when people sit there and go, well, Rev, you can't sit there and use a riot brush and say that Republicans don't care about poor people. No, I can. Because y'all know what I do. Y'all know exactly what I do. Y'all know what I do, when I do it, and how I do it. And the people, and here's another thing that they didn't tell you about the homeless camp. Let me do the homeless camp, and then I'm going to let y'all go. If you go down there and you talk to those people in that homeless camp, right? And I don't care what Jacob Fry tell you. I don't care what Rick Capcello tell you. A lot of them people down there do not want housing. They just want to be left alone. They don't want housing. They can argue on that city council all they want. There's a few people who say, okay, I'll take your housing. But here's the problem. It takes so long, right? Instead, here's what I keep trying to figure out why they can't do. Why they can't say, okay, let's set the place up, right? Watch this. We're going to set the place up. We're going to get everything ready. And then we're going to go down. And then we're going to see and get somebody for housing. That's not what they do. They go down and they mess with these people. And then they tell these people, well, we can get housing for you, right? We can get beds for you. But you got to wait. We'll come back and get you. Well, by that time, the police will be and come and raided the camp. Correct? So the police come raids the camp. And now this homeless person that maybe could have got a bed in a couple of weeks has been displaced. Now the social worker is like, can't go look for him. On to the next one. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of them going, I'm going to get a place, and then I'm going to go down, and I'm going to see who wants place. And if somebody say me, boom, get in the car. Go give them a place. The problem is they take too long to get these people a place. They take too long. By that time, they're gone. They're everywhere. That's part of the problem. Another part of the problem is people are down there because they're on drugs. It's easier for me to get drugs in a tent than in an established place that's I'm going to be supervised on, that I'm going to be checked on. I'm going to be looked after. I'm going to be cared for. I don't want you to care for me. I want my drugs. I want my dope. I don't want you to leave me alone. I want to go back to my tent. You got a lot of those people down there that just don't want to be bugged. And here's the thing that gets me about this whole thing, right? That I've also said. The people who are from Elk River, Eric Losario's district, why don't Elk River have a homeless camp? Republican area. Why don't Republic? Because they kick them out. They kick them out. I couldn't see a homeless camp being put up. And there's a lot of open area out in Elk River. Go over there by the sand pit off of 169 as you're going. I know because my in-laws live in Elk River. I'm out in Elk River. Go about it. All that area, like you go into Zimmerman. Go down 169 there, past the McDonald's, past the Harley dealer, past the grocery store. You can put up a homeless camp right down there. Let them have all that wooded area down there, but you won't do it. You kick them out, and these people coming from your St. Michael's, Albertsville's, Elk Rivers, Zimmerman, Clearwater, Clear Lake, Brainerd. They're coming from Maple Grove, Plymouth, Hopkins. They're coming from Coon Rapids, Fridley, Hopkins. They're coming from all over. A lot of those people who are homeless down there in Minneapolis are not even from Minneapolis. But they couldn't be homeless where they graduated high school from, could they? Hell no. So I told Fry when I was talking to him, if I was you, I'll go around to some of these red districts and be like, pay up. Yeah, they got some. Yep, you're right, Roller. You got the ones from Chicago, the ones from Wisconsin, right? You got one that's being shipped up here. You got people homeless that are being shipped that came up here from Texas. And they come into the city, and the people in the city have to take care of them. Those are facts. So that's what I told Fry. I would go to these red districts. I would go out to Walter Hudson's area. I would go out to Eric Losario's area. I would be like, hey, I need a check. I'm taking care of your people. I need a check. You won't let them have a homeless camp in your area, would you? No. So what do? They come downtown. They come downtown. That's what they are. And then so now downtown, the mayor, the city council, housing area, they've got to take care of them. So if the Republicans really cared about their people the way they say they do, they would pitch in and help downtown Minneapolis with the homeless. Because a lot of those people come from red districts, red areas. That's why I say they don't really do much. I haven't seen a bill. I haven't heard any Republican at that Capitol say, you know what? We know Rev worked with the homeless. We need to get him some type of bill or help him out. We need to do something. I ain't heard not one Republican say that. I haven't heard a Republican say, you know what? Maybe we need to have a bill that's going to do this, or going to do that for the homeless. That's going to be a truck or something that comes by that they can take baths or something like that. Republicans ain't put two and two together to understand that if they were to actually start doing things, they could actually come into the community. They could actually come into Hennepin County and be able to talk to people. I gave them an out. When I was with Scott Jensen, it's a true story. When I was with Scott Jensen, this is one of the things that I said, Scott, you can get into Hennepin County and it'll be no problem. But this is what I'm going to tell you what you can do. I said, one of the big problems that we have in the black community is when black men go to jail. Well, not just black men, but I'm just using the black community as a whole for right now. But when I talk about my brush is wide, people, and I talk about a lot of people. But right now, this is what I said to him. And I say that because people get mad sometimes. Why is it only just about black people? Because when I say black people, y'all tend to listen versus when I say white people and you go, oh, you get mad at me. But anyway, watch this here. Then I'm going to let y'all go. So I said to Scott Jensen, and not only me, but a good friend of mine, we had lunch with Scott Jensen when Scott Jensen was pretty much first talking about running, and we was trying to put together something for Scott Jensen to be able to come in to Hennepin County and talk to the people of Hennepin County. And one of the things that I gave Scott Jensen, and I said to him, and I said, here's what you could do. I said, one of the problems we have in the community is black men can't talk to their kids once they get arrested and be put in jail, right? I said, why don't you run on doing something with the phone company or helping with the phone company to relieve some of the pressure of these men. So if they've been in prison for a year or been in jail for a year, at least they can call their kids and say, because a lot of these men don't have money on the books and they can't put money on their books. So why don't you do something to help them? Put that in your agenda. Go into Hennepin County and say, I've got this. I've got something. I can make this happen. I want to make this work. This is what I want to do for you. I want to look into this prison system. I want to go in and talk about police reform. That's one of the things that Republicans saying police reform is like a Republican sucking on a lemon. You know what happens when you suck on a lemon? That's what a Republican looks like. It's like when they say police reform. So those are some of the things I gave Scott Jensen to do to come into Hennepin County, and Scott Jensen did none of it. Scott Jensen did what many other Republicans do when it comes to Hennepin County. That's why, like I said, I don't care what anybody says. The greatest move in election history or candidate running history is when Tim Walz realized that Scott Jensen and Matt Burke, because I told Matt Burke to come into. I drove around for 3 hours with Matt Burke. Matt Burke and I drove around for 3 hours in North Minneapolis. I met Scott Burke. Scott Burke jumped in my car, and we drove around for 3 hours. Me explaining to him Minneapolis, showing him where the gangs start, where the gang line end, I showed him where the poor people were. I showed him where the drug houses was. All that time, trying to get Scott and Matt Burke to come into North Minneapolis. Couldn't get him to do it, man. That's when I realized the Republican ain't about shit. They ain't about jack. Seriously, man. Seriously. Y'all can say what you want, but I can tell you from what I experienced and what I know. From the Tea Party, from what I went through in the Tea Party with the Republicans, and then when I'm trying to help them win a race, the only one that came, Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson came to Hennepin County. When I talked to Ryan Wilson and met with him and went over things with him, Ryan Wilson came to Hennepin County. So when y'all sit there and we get all upset at the Democrats and at the socialists, at the progressives, and all these here people, it's not just them. It really isn't. It's not just them. There's things that the Republicans can do. They can say things. They can use their voice in Hennepin County. They just don't want to. Because my understanding, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I was told, the base do not want them spending money. Their base, your base, the very base that loses elections every single year, says they don't want their money being spent around those people. And I know what they mean when they say those people. We all know what you mean when you say those people. So it's not just the Democrats. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's all of them. It's the Republicans and the Democrats. And this is the reason why I will always say, until we as a people come together and take hold of this here state, and we stop letting these people that come and knock on your door and tell you that they want to work for you, when we stop letting those people ruin our lives, when we get to the point to where we say that's enough and we start really thinking about this whole thing different, and we really start saying we the people, it's only going to get worse. See, I don't want somebody who's going to go work for me anymore, because I realize that's not how it really works. They knock on my door and they say, well, I want to work for you. I don't want you working for me, because you don't and you won't. See, what I want you to do is I want you to work with me. See, when I call you, I want you to answer the phone. I need you to, when I call you, I need you to answer the phone. I don't call you every day. I don't call you every night. But when it's important, I'm going to show you something. And I've told this story. He's out of Elk River. He's a Republican. It's a true story. True story. So if I'm gonna punch down, I got to punch up, right? I don't like to just punch down all the time and not punch up. Representative Novotny, he's a Republican out of Elk River. Representative Novotny is a Republican. I wish I had a lot of Republicans like this. True story. And then I'm going to let you go. So the liquor store on Broadway and Lindale, they called that the murder store, right? Because somebody was getting shot there every weekend. It happened to the point to where we was like, we've got to get this place closed down. So a night before this happened, there was a shooting in the parking lot. They had a shootout in the parking lot where hold on, this is the same place. If you remember what I told you earlier about the white women who bought all the big pots and got paid all of that money to put those pots in the parking lot, this is the place. So there's a shooting in the parking lot, right? And during this shooting in the parking lot, a round goes through the store window and hits one of the employees. And we was like, that's it, right? So I get a phone call from a good friend of mine. Hey, what are you doing, Rev? I'm not doing anything right now. He said, I got 5 guys, you 6, and if we can get one more, that'll be cool with me. But we're going to the liquor store right now, and we're going to demand that they shut these doors today. It needs to be shut. They got to shut. We're going to the liquor store. You in? I said, yeah, I'm in. But I remembered somebody said, if you ever need something, Rev, give me a call. I called. Now, remember, he's way out in Elk River. I call Representative Novotny. Picks up. Hey, we're going down to the liquor store, and I need you to come with me so I can show you what's going on. Hangs the phone up. We waiting. Next thing I know, he shows up. White man. So we go walking into the liquor store. So as we getting in the liquor store, as we walk into the parking lot, there's nobody in the parking lot. Nobody. We get in the store, and the owner wasn't there, so we had to wait for them to get a hold of the owner. And we get on the phone. We've got him on speakerphone, and we're telling him, you got to shut this thing down today. We're not leaving here unless you shut it down. We're not leaving here until you make something's got to happen today. But you can't have this open. You got an employee shot. You got a fire, people shooting in your parking lot, and it's like you don't care. But this something has to be done. So we get finished talking to the owner. We go to leave. We get to the front door. There had to be about 15 guys outside. I look at the guys that was with me, and I said, if you got it, put one in the pipe, because this may be ugly. We walk out the door, and one of the guys I knew from a couple of guys I actually knew, but one guy I knew very, very well. He goes, what the hell you doing, Rev? What the hell you doing? I said, we just in here talking to this dude, man. He's got to close this store, bro. I said, y'all up here shooting this place up. Y'all shot this woman. Now she's off work for I don't know how long. I said, y'all got to stop doing this. He go, man, we heard there was some people up here starting trouble, talking to them. That's why we up here. And I'm like, dude, I ain't starting no trouble. I'm just up here trying to get this woman some justice. And we trying to get this place cold. But the moral of that story is, again, like I said, if I could have more people like a Paul Novotny, Hennepin County would be different. It would be different. But I don't have people like that. I got people like this troublemaker in Buffalo. That's what we got. We got people like that. That's what we have. But anyway, fam, hey, I knew I was going to be long tonight because, like I said, I didn't even get to pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. One of the things that, like I said, I wanted to talk about was getting the officers out in the community again. One of the things I've been asking for is get these officers coaching. Think about this for a second. Then I'm going to let you go. Think about this for a second. Like I said before, if the only time these black kids are seeing the police is when the police is jacking somebody up on a car, right, or beating somebody down on the ground, what do you think is going to go through those kids' head? If we give these cops the opportunity to do what they do before, because some of those cops were, the reason we did at one time have a pretty good relationship in the community because those cops was coaches. If there's a basketball coach as a cop, I would love to have him coach a team, a football team, a basketball team, a baseball team. Have them coach and have some of those cops come around and be able to touch the cars, be able to touch those cops so the kids can see they're not really that bad. Yeah, they handle bad men in a certain way. We understand that. If you're bad, and that's what I'm saying. If you're bad, oh well. If you're out causing trouble and you shooting up something, and they, you know, I'm like Eddie Murphy. Excuse me, officer. Use the billy club. You deserve that. You deserve that. And we got to explain that to our kids. But I also want the kids around the police so they can see the police ain't all that bad. If that kid is running down the street and all of a sudden that cop drive by, he can sit there and go, "Hey, coach," not "pig. Get out of here, pig." How about, "Hey, coach, how you doing today?" Or if he see the police in Cub Foods or around Cub Foods or riding a bike, or the kid go riding a bike with the cops all, during the day. "Hey, officer, blah, blah, blah. You riding bikes today?" "Yeah." That's how things have to be done in our community. That's how they have to be done. And until somebody decides to do that, we're going to have the problems that we have. Like I said, there's a reason why those police left. They left, number one, because of the city council members. I don't blame them. But they also left because they wasn't doing right also. Look up, I tell you what, watch this here. Look up racist Christmas tree. Look up 4th Precinct. Look up 4th Precinct racist Christmas tree. Look it up. You ain't never there is no place in the world that you're going to tell me that a police department put up a Christmas tree like that Christmas tree. Write it down. Racist Christmas tree, 4th Precinct, Minneapolis, Minnesota. There is no place in the world that you're going to sit here and tell me that put up a Christmas tree like that. That Christmas tree was the most racist thing that the 4th Precinct, who people that they have to police are pretty much majority black. Do you think that was right? Do you think, no, look it up. And if you think that that's right for them to put that Christmas tree up, then something's wrong with you. But I want you to look up, right? I'm not going to tell you something that you can't look up. That's one thing that you will notice about me. What I tell you, you can either look it up or find it yourself. Look up 4th Precinct. Type in racist Christmas tree, Minneapolis. Then hit your enter button. And I want you to read what it says. And then I want you to look up any other precinct in the world and tell me if they would ever do something like that. That, my friends, is the reason why the police also left, because some of them was foul. See, Liz Collins didn't tell you that in her little film, did she? No, she didn't. Rick tonight didn't tell you that type of stuff, did he? He didn't tell you about the DOJ report. He didn't tell you about the racist Christmas trees. He didn't tell you about people, black men getting shot because the police sit there and say he tried to take my gun. They didn't tell you that stuff because they don't. Hey, fam, y'all have a good night. Wait a minute. Wait. He said, I agree there needs to be more communication, integration with police. And see, here's another thing that I've always said. And I'm not just going to blame the police. I'm not gonna just sit here and blame white people. Let's be real here for a second. Let's say if black parents gave a damn about their kids' education, and let's say black parents taught their kids well also at home, and let's say these kids went to school with the mindset to get an education. And let's say these kids said to themselves, I want to do something for my community. And those black kids in those black communities became police officers. I'm just saying. Then we wouldn't hear the white police officers treated us wrong. Correct? Because the same kid that grew up in your community, you'll be saying, come on, Tyrone. You going to pull me over for that? He going to be like, yeah, I'm a police officer. That's what I went to school for. That's my job. But we don't have that. We don't have black parents in these neighborhoods making sure that their kids get the education that they need to be able to go to school, to go on to police academy, to become a policeman in their community. So the white cops that don't live in the community, see what I'm saying, Roller? So the white cop who don't live in the community don't have to drive inside the community, treat it like the jungle, and then leave. That black cop that lives in the community, that grew up in the community, that graduated in the community, can now patrol the streets that he knows better than anybody. I'm just saying. Why can't we put together a program in these black schools for these kids who say, I want to be a cop? Instead of paying, watch this. So I pay these violent interrupters millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And those millions and millions and millions of dollars don't go to the right place. And then these black kids who don't have a job, don't have a future, don't have nothing, are now selling dope, selling hard drugs to white people who are coming from the city, coming from the suburbs. And then those kids are able to buy guns to shoot each other for the corner that makes the most money. That's what happens in the black community. So instead of investing in the kids this way with that money that these violent interrupters are getting millions of dollars, why don't we invest right now in middle school? Kids say, I want to be a cop. Boom, got you. We're going to invest in you. I would rather invest in that kid all through high school, and then watch this here. So if he goes through everything, he gets out of academy, you buy him a house, we put together money, you buy him a house in that community. Buy him a house, put him right in the community, you buy him a house. We invest that way. See, people don't want to solve these problems. I got ways. I know, yeah, people sit there and go, well, you bitch and moan all the time, Rev. What would you do? That's one of the things that I would do. But people really don't want to solve this, because if we solve the problem of black on black crime, you know how much money would go down here? How much money would be to people? There's people who live for every bullet a black kid shoots. Somebody is getting money for that bullet. They are getting paid for that. That's how they live. They live off of that black kid shooting the other black kid. And if we fix it, they can't live no more. Those are facts, people. You think they really want to help these drug people? You think they really want to? I'm gonna show you what will definitely happen. If these socialists get their hands on that mayor's seat. Now, they because they're already paying these people, right? Jason Chavez, $200,000 he set aside to pay them to pick up their own garbage that the city ends up having to come back out to get. But they're going to sit there and go, well, we got housing. We're going to put together programs and nonprofits. That's what's going to happen. We're going to put together programs and nonprofits to help these people get into housing. And that nonprofit is going to turn into fraud. It will, as I sit here, y'all know it, because everything else has turned into fraud under them people. I appreciate y'all. Thank you much. I'm gone. I got to go plug up. So I don't have to lay in bed all day while my machine do its job with everything. Somebody asked me earlier how I'm doing. You know what? I get stronger every day. The dialysis kicked my butt. But I'm getting back. Now I can't say that I'm not, because I can't walk my dog as far as I used to. Before I could walk my dog blocks. Now I can only walk so far before I get really tired. But dialysis does that to you. When you're going through kidney dialysis, that's part of what happens. Like I was telling people, I mean, when I started dialysis, I was weighing 261. It took a year. I'm at 205. I used to be 261 when I started kidney dialysis, and now I'm down to 205. It's because I don't eat as much. I mean, when you're on dialysis, you don't eat as much because you can't really taste your food. I can only taste certain foods that I can't eat. One of the things that I love is grapes. I love grapes. Well, being on dialysis, I can't eat grapes anymore. But that's okay because I can't taste them. So there's food that I can't taste. Some certain salts. And black folks, we love our salt. We put salt on everything. I put salt on my watermelon. Hold on. I know a lot of people, if you're from the South, you understood what I said. I put salt on my watermelon. But I don't do it anymore because I literally, salt on my watermelon now I can't taste. And my fried chicken, I really can't taste even I went to Chick-fil-A. Got a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Food, y'all. Y'all thought I was going to say Popeyes. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, see, that's how y'all are. Y'all thought I was going to say Popeyes. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Gotcha. Chick-fil-A. I'm a Chick-fil-A person. I love Chick-fil-A. Love it. My wife don't like it, so I have to go to Chick-fil-A by myself. But she'll go there to get the milkshake. She liked the milkshake. But I can't really taste the salt anymore on certain foods. So I don't eat certain foods. So that has helped me lose weight. But like I said, I've always said again, please, ma'am and sir, exercise, do everything you possibly can do. Do not get wrapped up in this healthcare system. Please, ma'am and sir, because once they get you, they got me. There's nothing I can do now. Nothing I can do. I've got to sit back and wait and hope and pray that within the next 4 to 5 years that a kidney come available for me. If not, I do what I do now. I plug up every night, and that machine is my kidney. So I do that. But I like I said, I'm feeling good. I'm getting some of my strength back and things of that sort. But we're okay. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be just fine. Y'all have a good one. We will more than likely talk to you on Saturday. My grandson will be here. So if y'all not doing anything, we'll probably be on probably about 1 o'clock. Because you know he's a Viking fan. He's a Viking fan. So my grandson will be here. So we'll be running off at the mouth with that. Y'all have a good night. God bless each and every one of you. Peace. I'm out.